This is Mystery Girl with WPKN. I'm here with Chris Webby at Toad's Place. How's it going?
It's going fantastic. Yeah, this is the 6th annual of this show on Black Friday at Toad's Place. Always a good time, friends, family, everybody's in the back, open bar, having a great time.
And what's it feel like to be back home? I know you're from Norwalk, so what's it feel like to be back in Connecticut?
It's always good. I've been living out in Cali, and then I've been on the road in between. You know, before that I was on a 50-show run with Tech 9 all over the place, so it's great to be back. I love Connecticut. I love the food here, especially from my mom's cooking. I mean, yesterday was Thanksgiving. It was
perfect timing.
Oh my God, yeah.
So far on your tour, it's called the Liquid Sunshine Experience, right? What's your favorite place you've been so far? What's your favorite venue that you've toured at?
Toad's Place. Just doing a whole Northeast sweep should be a good time. It's always, this is where my fan base was originally culminated and is still, it's like the old stomping grounds at this point.
When I get up in the booth, I play those beats. Get a white boy slick, but I stay low key. Smart kid, brain sharper than the Mako's teeth. I like my chicks a little dirty and my Jamo Neat.
So I want to talk about Jamo Neat. You're probably drinking Jamo in there, of course, right? Tell me about the album. What's your favorite song on the album? I mean, what was your mindset when you were doing it?
Well, it's an EP. Album-wise, out of the 12 projects I've dropped, I only did have one actual album. So it was an EP, but I would say my favorite joint on it probably That's Life, which a little, heads up, that's going to be what I start my encore with after I get off stage. We'll come back out to that. I'm going to have my dad playing guitar on that, amongst many other songs as well. So yeah, it's like a rock show, really. I mean, I grew up listening to rock and a lot of other genres of music, soul, classic rock, to newer Offspring like shit, reggae, all that. So, hip hop is great, but I grew up on other things.
Who were your main musical influences growing up?
I mean, like I said, I grew up listening to all different types of music, from Sublime, Bob Marley, Janis Joplin, Jimi Hendrix, The Temptations. And then hip-hop came into my life, and there was Eminem and DMX and Snoop and Exhibit. I would say, those are some names that jump right off, hit me in the face at the beginning. These are all people that I grew up listening to and observing and forging my own style through all these different genres and being able to become my very own artist.
But it's so easy when you W-E-B-B. Why? Easy when you W-E-B-B. Why? Easy when you...
3 words you would use to describe yourself, just off that. First thing you think of.
Like goofy, drunk, and friendly.
I like that. Goofy, drunk, and friendly. And do you have any pre-show or post-show rituals that you do before you go on?
For sure. Pre-show, I keep it relatively all day is. Especially when you're on tour, it's kind of a recovery process from the night before. Whether or not it was a big party night, you're still recovering your vocal cords, you're still, you're bouncing back. This is a very serious job. When you're doing 50 shows in 54 days, that daytime period needs to be taken seriously. So I don't smoke weed all day. I don't smoke a cigarette all day. I don't, maybe sometimes I cheat here and there a tiny bit, but, and I drink a little bit right before I'm going on stage, within the hour or two beforehand. I take it very seriously. And then post-show, that as soon as I get off, smoke a bogey, have myself another drink or 5, and actually enjoy myself from that point forward. But I also do realize that stage time is what everybody paid to come and see, and you can't put on a lackluster performance because you wanted to have a good time before. You have to take this shit seriously, because there's a lot of people downstairs at Toad's Place right now who paid good money to come and see me tonight. They bought the shirts, they bought the hats, whatever they did, meet and greets. They came to see a good show, and it's on me to give them that.
Every couple of songs I hear you make references to superheroes. So I want to ask you this fun question. If you could have a superpower, but it has to be a superpower that no other superhero has. So you can't pick. It has to. So pick something random. Something random that no one else has. What would it be? Stump you.
I wish I had Mel Gibson's abilities and what women want. And he wasn't technically a superhero, so I think, yeah.
Oh, crap. That's a good one. All right, that's a good one. That's the best one I've heard so far.
I do not have that natural instinct. I'm learning as I go.
Yeah.
I think, everyone tells me I'm doing a pretty good job on the female side, but I never had any sisters, so it's been like a serious learning curve in that, but I've been doing all right as of late.
Look, mama, I made it.
What advice would you give to aspiring rappers? Because it is the music industry is a tough industry, so what would you say to other people who want to be where you are?
It's not a very friendly, happy environment, the music industry, and you gotta kind of make sure you forge your own path. Don't ever rely on the industry itself. Carve your own route. Like I said, I just got off tour with Tech 9, and to see what he's done, and he did it himself. And I've done everything thus far, more or less myself, and I may not be as famous as certain other people's, but in a sense, I made the decision to take the route that I did, and I turned certain things down, and I never regret it. I can sleep at night, and fame is not my motive. I think it's about legacy, and I think everyone else, if you're an aspiring artist, you should really think about legacy,
Yeah.
But I never slowed down, I just kept my head straight till I made a movement. And now, I'm feeling superhuman.
Years went. I want to change the world. I want to change the world for the better. That's what I want to do.
That's important. Do it through your music.
The music is just step one.
Yeah.
I want to buy a bunch of rainforests, preserve it, and then hire a bunch of armed guards to make sure nobody cuts the trees down.
Oh, the Chris Webby takeover?
Yeah.
All
Yeah,
right.
because I love the environment.
Gibson.
Yeah, and then I'll have all my women down in my forest. Yeah.
Amazon jungle women?
Exactly, and I'll know just what they want.
I love it. I love it. And I'm sure there's been times where you wanted to quit. It's a hard industry to come up in. So what would you say keeps you going?
You gotta have thick skin. People are gonna say the meanest things about you. That's what it is. When you put yourself out there, no matter what you do, it could be hip hop, it could be anything else. If you're putting yourself out there on a public scale, people are gonna shit on you. That's just human nature, especially with the internet. It makes it way too easy for people who shouldn't have an opinion that is validated to have a validated opinion.
Yep.
So, you just gotta be tough. You just gotta keep going. And if you really love this, it shouldn't be a question.
I'm Christian's father, Christian Webster, who was also AKA Chris Webby.
Great. And so you were performing on stage with him.
That's correct.
So can you tell me about your history a little bit? You're a guitarist?
I've been doing this my whole life. I started as a kid. I started out playing folk music, then I started playing rock and roll, and then blues, and I've been playing for many years. I played with various people over the years. Recorded with Bette Midler and Bob Dylan, and played with Chuck Berry, Bo Diddley. A while ago.
Amazing.
Yeah, and I still play. And when Chris asked me to play, I usually do the Northeast states with him. Although I went out to California with him twice. And played in LA with him twice.
What's it like to perform with your son? He grew up around the music.
The first time I played here 6 years ago, which is really the first big show that I played with Chris, right here at Toad's. And I was I was on stage, I could not believe the energy that was coming from the crowd, and everybody knew the lyrics to all of his tunes, and it was awesome. Mm-hmm. It's great. He works hard at his craft. He's got his spiral notebooks out, and he writes lyrics constantly.
Yeah, and this is an obvious question, but you're proud of him, right?
Oh, very proud of him.
Yeah.
He's pretty amazing. I remember when he first started doing it when he was a kid, when he was about 12 years old, and he had braces, and he was skinny, and he had a big W pendant that he wore around his neck, and I'm like a traditional guy. I'm a Jimi Hendrix fan, and Eric Clapton and B.B. King. That's kind of my roots, and hip-hop was not something that I was really familiar with, and it was not something I particularly liked at all. And Chris has definitely taught me. I've certainly listened to enough stuff. I know there's a lot of great stuff too. But at first, we were kind of horrified that he was doing it, to be honest with you. But as time went on, I realized when he went to school, he rapped a couple of times they had like a little after hours thing, and I said, "Wow, this!" I didn't realize he could do what he was doing, and it just kind of grew from there. And I'm still in awe of, especially when he freestyles. And he'll be in a room and he'll look at various things and he'll pick a person, say the name, incorporate it into whatever he's doing, into his flow. It's kind of astonishing, you know. But yeah, I'm very proud of him, and I think he's tremendously gifted at what he does. And you know, he's at the age now, he's 27 years old, so he's matured enough, and I hope the next couple of years are going to be real big for him.
What do you think you'd be doing if you weren't a rapper? You know, like other kind of like alternate reality.
I mean, honestly, like probably selling weed.
And my last question is, if you got stranded on a desert island and you could only bring one item and one person, any person in the world, in one item, who would the person be? What would the item be? That's my closing question.
Probably like an iPod and probably someone that I would, you know, be able to have sex with, because at this rate on this deserted island, that doesn't sound like I'll be lasting very long. You're not even sure if I'm gonna have water, so I may as well enjoy the 5 or 6 days before I inevitably starve.